It seems like if I wanted to cover one state, I could do it. Just one state, and I could make hundreds of videos probably every month. There doesn't seem to be an end to what the state of California can provide as far as content. When you look at the sheer volume of crime, even in the trade papers, it's astonishing. Well, at least to me. I've been looking at this crime statistics for the last few years, and while there are occasionally trends where it does, violent crime especially, trend downward, it doesn't seem to be the case anymore. And anecdotally, people are more concerned with this issue than you're going to find represented in the corporate content creator media space that is sometimes referred to as news. I think that's a joke, to be honest with you, because if you take just a few moments to look at what's happening in the great state of California, you'll see that failed policies going back almost 40 years has actually stymied probably what could be the third largest economy in the world rather than the seventh. Let's take a look at a couple of stories from just the last couple of weeks. Here we go. Starting the beginning of February, on the 2nd, we have the report from Deadline. It's a trade paper talking about Elizabeth Lynn Vargas, formerly of Real Housewives of the Orange County. She was a cast member, I guess, held captive in her own home by armed assailant. That's right. She was literally in her home, and a 33-year-old felon broke into her home and literally held her captive for hours. From the story, one-time Real Housewives of Orange County cast member Elizabeth Lynn Vargas was identified as the person held captive for hours in her own home by the 33-year-old felon who, according to Newport Beach police, was actively threatening the life of the victim. The suspect, whose name I will withhold, but you can read here clearly in this article, was being held without bail on suspicion of assault with a deadly weapon, burglary, extortion, and being a felon in possession of a firearm, according to authorities. Police were called to perform a welfare check at about 5:45 p.m. on Tuesday in the 100 block of Medina Way, which is obviously where she lives. This is on the Balboa Peninsula, where a suspect was determined to be holed up inside. Then a standoff ensued. After about 2 hours, officers made their way inside the home and found the armed suspect actively threatening the life of the victim, who was identified by her manager as Vargas. The suspect was taken into custody. Police said that after speaking with the victim, officers evacuated some surrounding homes while they secured the home. Well, that makes sense, so there isn't any crossfire because you don't know what kind of load the criminal has, and, you know, firearms can fire projectiles through walls. So it could be rather dangerous. After conducting a search of the residence, the evacuations were lifted and no other suspects were found, the police said. Now, this comes fresh off the heels of another story of another Real Housewives cast member, this one from Beverly Hills. Star Dorit Kemsey was the victim of a home invasion. We covered a story about all of the problems that were happening in California a couple weeks ago. And I thought it was important to follow up because this is a continuing trend, and the people are now, the criminals are now going after, you know, people of note. And that's a real problem. It's usually when things start to happen and things start to turn around. But there are some things that haven't turned around and problems that have progressed over time. And another reason why hashtag CalExit is constantly trending. For example, from Fox, San Francisco man claims city practically pays him to be homeless as California residents sound the alarm on crime. No kidding. They keep trying to hide these numbers that 2021 was as violent and dangerous as it was. But again, largely they're trying to show a downward trend, and all of their data is pretty disingenuous and from a couple years ago at best. In fact, they like to look at 2019 and early 2020 data when they look over things. But we'll look at this. So from the subheadline, it says, "The homeless man claimed he sold fentanyl to teens and gets big checks from the government. A San Francisco man says the city practically pays him to be homeless as California residents continue to speak out in fear of the crime plaguing their communities. If you're going to be homeless, it's pretty flipping easy," said the homeless man in a video posted to Twitter. In the clip, the man said he feels the police are like his neighbors, that's right, neighbors, and that he was remaining homeless entirely by choice. We've heard that going back 40 years ago, but I'll continue. "I mean, if we're going to be realistic, they pay you to be homeless here," the man added. San Francisco author Michael Schellenberger joined, of course, this newscast Friday and revealed that he interviewed hundreds of homeless people across the country, including the man that is depicted in the video. Schellenberger said the man revealed he received $620 a month in cash welfare, as well as a $200 a month stipend in food stamps. People are attracted to San Francisco because it offers the most generous benefits. The author added that the man confessed to trading food stamps for cash. That's something that we've heard for a long time. The man also admitted that he bought fentanyl and sold it to 15 and 16-year-olds. Schellenberger called the man's actions pretty common behavior of the homeless population in the California city. Meanwhile, as homelessness skyrockets under California leadership, many residents have called out their city officials over unsafe living conditions. Remember, defund the police? I don't think they want to defund them anymore. In Venice Beach, one concerned parent sounded the alarm on crime and claimed the city may be liable for failing to enforce laws related to overnight encampments. And that's probably true. If you've ever seen, there was a beautiful stretch of beach with a skate park. You know, you could skate there or, you know, bike in the thing or use, you know, your roller skates, rollerblades, whatever. It's right next to the famous Muscle Beach location there on Venice Beach, where the Gold's Gym folks work out outside on the beach. There's also, you know, multiple types of racket sports that are there. It's all just kind of along this one string in Venice. And now that entire row is nothing but tents. Don't believe me? There's plenty of evidence out there. Anyway, during an appearance on America's Newsroom, which I guess is a Fox show, Matt Stayner said that his family has begun to feel unsafe living near the encampments after his son was stabbed by a homeless man while riding the metro. His son has since recovered, but Stayner said his boy was lucky that two sheriffs were nearby during the incident, given the recent lack of police presence in the area. This is a quote from him, not me. "It was a huge mistake for us to defund the police here. We don't have enough people on the street to help us out, and crime has really surged," Stayner told the two people on the show. The California father added the absence of police has really been painful for Venice Beach residents, noting that a nearby park has endured open drug use, a recent shooting, and a very bad behavior assault. I have to say it that way. There are several comments that go on to talk about this article in depth. I think you're looking at 5,300 comments in less than 24 hours of this story running. And I think you can see a common thread. Bad things have been happening in California under a lot of very ridiculous or ridiculously short-sighted policies. As you can see here, there are 5,300 comments just on this article within 23 hours of its creation. And I think you'll see that in common, there are some very short-sighted policies that continue to be recycled and repeat the same failures that they've had in every other attempt. What was the definition of insanity again? What was the definition of insanity again? What was the definition of insanity again? Anyway, what are your thoughts? These are just a few of these stories coming out of California. They come out of Hollywood. They come out of trade papers. They come out of the television news. They come out of print news. And nobody changes how they go about solving these things. They recycle failed solutions, repackaged as something else, and really reveal the lack of or the failure of leadership that currently exists in the cities and states of California. And again, it's no wonder that hashtag CalExit is trending regularly. That's it for today's story. I am interested in your comments, so please utilize the box down below that says comments. Please make some. I love to engage on these things. Maybe you have some ideas. Maybe you see things differently than I do with this particular set of issues that is becoming more broadly reported than you probably would have expected in a state that has basically been the same way for over 40 years. But do put your comments down below. And of course, support other independent creators here on the platform because they absolutely do need your support. They are competing, they are competing directly with the corporate content creators out there. And if you want to spell those with K's, you can. That really put the independent folks at a disadvantage. So in order to feed the algorithm, do watch their content. Make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, make a comment. Believe it or not, that really does drive engagement. And of course, if you want to do that here on my channel, I would appreciate that as well. Be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, wash your hands, of course, because it's good hygiene. And until next time, bye.
Thanks for visiting today. Be sure you're subscribed and hit that for alerts.
Yay!
Of course, like and share all of the videos that you can as it helps with the algorithm. Have a great day.